Hello, Rick and Christy. Here's your sewer scope from today's home inspection. Just giving you orientation in the basement, letting you know where we're at. There's that floor clean outs. Here's the glamorous world of being a home inspector and doing sewer scopes. So dropping down, this is what's likely a T-fitting, right? Normally when you drop into a sewer line at the clean out or on the main stack, whatever, there's a longer sweep where it's relatively easy to get the camera moving in the right direction. I had to ram my arm down there and move the camera head. Unfortunately, I moved it in the wrong direction the first time. That's the cable of my camera lens. Scary times when you get your camera doubled back on itself. So I pulled out on there. I was able to, which was fortunate. What I'm doing now is turning on some water so I can try to see the flow and figure out the right direction, make sure that I'm going in the right way. Yeah, so we're getting some water flowing now. I'll pull back again a little bit here to see. Okay, now I've got kind of a basic idea of which way to go. Same thing, jamming the other arm down there and pushing now in the other direction. Little work there, but finally got us going in the right way. Obviously the water is the bottom of the pipe. I don't use a self-leveling head, so just wherever the water is, that's the bottom. Obviously, we are holding stuff in the pipe. We'll talk more as we go along through this video. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to get past this. Not uncommon in the beginning of a pipe to be the dirtiest section of the pipe. It's obviously you're closest to the action where everything's getting flushed or going down the drain or whatever. I'm going to turn on a little bit more water and try to wash off the lens of my camera so we get a better picture. Eventually I'll be successful, but we're in cast iron as far as I can tell at this point. Yeah, it's a little better. Okay, somewhat on the bumpy side, which is normal. Right up in here, this section coming up, that's our transition into clay. So a relatively quick transition into clay, not uncommon to be cast iron underneath the house, and then once the pipe reaches the exterior, once we get out into the yard, it switches over to clay. The unknown factor for this pipe is if it's been, well, I'm going to say if there's any root intrusion, and you'll see some up ahead, but cast iron clay as a general rule is relatively smooth on the inside and tends not to have a lot of buildup. This exactly right there is the exception to that rule. I would say that this is, and we talked about this briefly today, that this is a very coarse interior on a clay pipe, which leads me to believe that it hasn't been cleaned in a really long time. Okay, what's the downside to that? Well, again, if there's enough buildup, looks like, so there's paper right there. We're holding some water. I'm actually clearing things out as we go along. No extra charge for that. Just because nothing like this cable and camera head has gone through here in a long time. So I am, helping it out a little bit, but ultimately what will happen is you'll start to catch things, paper products. Could things back up? Well, it's always a possibility. You're less likely to have that happen unless you have roots growing in, because the line hasn't been cleaned in a long time. My thinking is that you don't have much of an issue with roots except for right about here as we come to the end of the push. Right, so there's some buildup on the side. You can see the root growth right there coming in and around. This is coming through the connection to uh, the the city, right? So where your line connects to the city, um, roots are growing through that spot. You'll see as we get up a little bit further along. Okay, here we go. Um, so that's the city connection. You can see the roots dangling in and coming back a little bit. So, I mean, all in all, 93 feet of decent pipe, but again, it's dirty enough where I would say that in the near future, it would be prudent to just have it cleaned out, okay? Um, there really are two directions you can go. Cabling, which is basically just cutter heads going in, or next level up, more expensive, probably overkill, but you could hydrojet this as well, which is just high pressure water. Um, I will leave that decision up to you. I don't have a preference one way or the other, but you can see the growth. I'm going to keep the camera rolling on the way back. One of the things that you're going to notice, besides we're going to pick up a passenger on the way back, but the water's flowing a lot freer, less instances of the camera head going underwater. So again, just by moving something through this, it definitely clears things out. You can see on the just on the left side of the screen that's hanging onto the camera head. We'll shake it loose here in a second. It's just basically just a wad of paper. Um, but again, just even those little balls of paper are going to have the tendency to dam things up and creates a holding spot for water and other matter. What I'm doing right now is just changing out disinfectant wipes and paper towels. I clean off the cable as I pull it back, just for obvious reasons. There it goes. And again, that's a big enough blob of paper that potentially could create the low spot in the line. Um, Keep watching all the way to the end if you'd like, and always, as always, please reach out to me with any questions or if I can be of help.